You're listening to Unlocked, Your Career by Design with Samantha Florence, Fortune 100 executive, billion-dollar business leader, and founder of Powerhouse Code. Here, you'll discover how to build authority, attract opportunities, and lead with authentic presence. If you're ready to claim your spotlight and step into your next level, you're in the right place. Let's unlock your career by design. All right. Welcome to episode 10 of Unlocked Your Career by Design. Today, I want to share with you a couple of insights and hacks that our panel members and keynote speakers shared last week. Because last week I had a Future of Leadership Forum where 16 companies send their high potential talent to learn and understand what are the key insights, the key things that are needed in order to evolve from a high potential talent to a high impact leader. And the reason I want to share that with you today, because I still see so many misconceptions as to what it takes to really be successful in your career. And so before I dive into the 5 hacks, I want to share a bit about the background of the forum. Because this idea came to me when was it? It was over the summer. So July 2025, the idea came to me that I saw a need, instead of having virtual masterclasses most of the time, to have an in-person event. But then a virtual masterclass usually lasts for 60 to 90 minutes. But in order to have an in-person event where people actually show up, what are you going to do? And so I thought, okay, it needs to be something that is inspiring, right? Because when you show up to an event, what you want to do is leave inspired. It needs to be something that actually tackles a business problem or a development problem. And there needs to be an element of interaction in it. And so the forum was designed to start with keynote speeches, followed by panel with a mixed panel member setup, and then to close with an interactive record session. And for this year, so the forum is called the Future of Leadership Forum, and the theme was turning high potential talent into high impact leaders to drive the next era of growth. And here's the thing that most people get wrong. Talent development is not only an HR priority. Talent development should be on the agenda of the CEO and the leadership team. Because when talent development is not on priority or on the agenda of the CEO and the leadership team, you're missing out on business growth or organization growth. Because talent should be a direct input or output, should lead to output in whatever goal your organization is trying to reach. And so that was the angle of this year. I have many, many ideas for next year that I'm not going to reveal here, but I did want to share with you a few key insights. I wrote them down here that will help you. So we had Daniela Cohen-Henriquez. She is Assistant Managing Director of MCB Group, which is the biggest bank on the island of Curacao in the Caribbean region. So also the biggest employer. And she's a member of the senior leadership team. And she had 3 insights that I want to share with you that not only helped her progress in her career, but also what she notices, what differentiates the successful professionals that really progress and those that stay stuck. Number 1, you have to have a voice. She was very clear on this, and I 100% agree. You have to have a voice, and you have to use a voice. Now, this is where people usually get a bit defensive and say, well, shouldn't my work speak for itself? And how many times have you heard me say, does your laptop have a mouth? Because mine does not. So it's you that needs to share your wins. It's you that need to showcase all your successes. It's you that needs to use your voice. And not only to share your wins and show your successes, but to share your thought leadership. Because here's the thing, when you progress from a business operator to a value creator to a people developer, it's not only about what you're doing, about the tactical and operational your job description. It's how are you using your voice, your expertise, your knowledge, your insights to influence the trajectory of your organization. So again, number one is you have to have a voice and you have to use that voice. So I want you to think about thought leadership. What is your perspective? How are you sharing your perspective? How are you influencing not only topics that relate to your own job description, but go beyond that? Okay. Number two, you need to be visible. So having to have a voice and being visible can be a bit the same. But being visible is more about people need to know who you are, right? Because again, when you enter the workforce, straight out of college, straight out of university, straight out of school, you enter the workforce with a skill set. You're good at marketing. You're good at finance. You're good at IT. You name it, whatever it is. Sales. And then you progress. But then all those that enter the workforce with you at the same time have those exact same skills. And like I said, when you progress, it's not only about your skill set, your competencies, and how you deliver your job anymore. It's about, do the right people know you? Do the right people see you? Do the decision makers know who you are? And not even only know who you are, do they know the value that you bring? Do they know how you accelerate the goals of the organization? Can you tie your wins and your successes and your deliverables to the priorities of the organization? So those are things you need to think about. So again, number one, you need to have a voice. And number two, you have to be visible. And to me, those are interlinked, but they're distinct. So one is sharing your perspective, sharing your thought leadership, not only on your box, what you are good at, but also in the wider context of the organization. And the other one is you need to be visible. People need to know who you are, what you bring to the table, and why you are such a valuable asset and talent to the organization. Number three. So I'm still with Daniela Cohen-Henriquez. Listen to feedback. Now, with the women I work with over in Elevate You and also in my own workplace, this is the hardest one because we want to get positive feedback. We want to get compliments. We want to get recognized. We want to feel the recognition. Because when you get positive feedback, right, it goes back to school. It's like getting a sticker on your report card, but it doesn't help you to progress. Where you need to be on the lookout for is the blind spots, is the negative feedback, is the feedback that stings, because that's what's going to catapult you into the future. And so I want you to make this a priority of not waiting until your next performance review, until your next appraisal cycle. No, how can you proactively go out there and get that constructive feedback that you need to start understanding what are the things you need to work on? Not only what am I good at, what are my strengths, I feel so recognized, I feel so valued and appreciated. That's not going to do anything for your career. What you need to do is get that constructive feedback, okay? And then listen to it. Because once you get a constructive feedback, it probably will sting. It probably will hurt you a lot. And so you need to start thinking about, when I get that feedback, I am going to, what do I always say? Shut up and listen. Shut up and listen to the feedback. Why? Because it's data. And you want to have that data. This is not about he or she has a bad perception of me. It's not true. I'm not interested in the truth. You should also not be interested in the truth because you know the truth. What you should be interested in is the perception, the feedback, data points. And when you spend your energy being pissed that somebody gave you the feedback that you do not agree with, you're totally missing the point. Because it's not about whether it's true or not. It's not about whether it's fair or not. It's about what is the data point, what are the data points that I need in order to understand where I need to focus on to increase my chances of progressing and to position myself for the next step. So you really want that feedback that stings. And trust me, I have been there and it hurts like crazy. But once you make the switch that it's not about you, it's not a personal attack, it's either a opinion, a perspective, a perception, a judgment, it doesn't matter. But then at least you know what could potentially be holding you back. So you actively want to be looking for that feedback. Okay, then we had Ference. He is a former executive at the Bank of America. He has over 25 years experience in corporate banking and investment banking all over the world, in Ireland, London, Netherlands, Singapore, New York, you name it. And he has had a very, very successful career. And his number one advice was that you need a network of champions. You need a network of mentors and sponsors. And this is one of the questions that I get the most. Like, how do I find a sponsor? How do I find a mentor? And I had an episode, I don't remember what episode it was, but how do you ask the right questions? Because that's thinking in terms of scarcity. What you need to be thinking is, again, start with the end in mind. What do I want for my career? And who can help me get there? That's it. Two very easy questions. And when you can answer those questions, you get you closer to who do you want as a mentor and a sponsor. It's not how do I get one, et cetera, et cetera. No. How do I ask someone to be a mentor and sponsor? You just decide. Decide. Ask the right questions. What do I want for my career? Who can help me get there? And then you decide, I am going to build a relationship with those people. Now, what I would recommend is that you, for especially a mentor relationship, you want to have a good click with that person, right? Because that person needs to give you that unfiltered feedback, and you need to be able to feel that you're in a safe space, that you can connect with that person. So that's in the terms of mentor. I personally never go to a person and say, would you like to be my mentor? Because then if the person doesn't know you that well, there might be barriers and blockages without even realizing how they can help you. So I would always recommend you decide who are the ones that can help you get there and who do you have a good click with, good connection with. And then you go in and you say, hey, I want to learn from your career, how you got to where you are. Would you be open to having a conversation? And if you feel that first conversation is good, you say, would you be open for a next one in 2 to 3 months? And off you go. So that's how you create a network of champions without having to actually ask anyone to be your mentor. You just decide that they are your mentor and that you want to learn from a person. And then the last one, point number 5 that I want to share with you, we also had Stella van Rijn. She is the head of the University of Curacao. So she brought a completely different angle, whereas Ference and Daniela brought a corporate angle, especially from a financial services industry and from the banking industry. Stella, she is the head of the university. So she brought the angle of how not only as educational institutions, as universities, as schools, we can prepare the new generation for the workplace. She brought the angle that, hey, we are not in the era of change. We are in a change of era. I'm going to repeat that. We are not in an era of change. We are in a change of era. And what she meant by that is that with the technology, with AI, how fast things are going, by the time you start university and you end university, everything has changed already. And so she brought the perspective of how do you prepare yourself in this era that we are in, or the change of an era that we are in, and how do you make sure that your skills stay relevant and don't disappear with AI? And she brought 2 perspectives that I want to share with you today because I think they were really, really interesting. Number 1 was the learning does not stop the moment you have your diploma in your hands. The moment you have your bachelor degree, your master's degree, whatever degree you have, the learning doesn't stop. So she introduced the concept of lifelong learning, which I am 100% advocate for, which is why I founded Powerhouse Code, because I feel like I see so many mistakes in the workplace, and people stop learning and rely on their skills and their greatness in terms of deliverables and don't see what else is missing. And so she shared that concept of lifelong learning and how the university is creating those tools, let's say, for adult learning as well. So that, hey, you're 10 years in the workforce, you go back and you learn a new skill set. And then you give another 5 years and then you go back. Because the other thing that she mentioned is that in the future, functional skills, the expert skills, are going to be less relevant because those are things that AI, automation, etc., can take over. And the real differentiator or the real relevancy is going to be about being a generalist, being able to do different things or multiple things and not only a focus like, this is my box. I'm in marketing, I'm in finance, I'm in HR. No, she predicted, or her perspective was that the future of the workforce, the future of the workplace is that there will be a big need for generalists who can pivot and combine different skills and areas of expertise. And I found that a very interesting and refreshing angle as well, because we do come from not too long ago, your parents, your grandparents, that they worked 45 years at one company, probably in the same department. And we're not there anymore, right? And like I said, if you're starting university in 2025 or 2026, by the time you finish it, technology has evolved, AI has evolved, and it's going so fast that we can't even keep up. And that requires a different way of learning and a different way to stay relevant. And so I did want to share this with you because we had so much positive feedback of that forum. It was in person. The energy was through the roof. Everybody said, I'll be there next year and I will bring more people in. So I didn't want you to miss out. I'm going to repeat the 5 hacks to move from a high potential talent to a high impact leader. Number 1, you have to have a voice. And maybe, okay, you have a voice. You have to use your voice. And when I say you have to use your voice, think in terms of sharing your perspective, sharing your thought leadership, saying what's on your mind, agreeing or disagreeing. Doesn't matter as long as you're sharing your perspective in a way that's constructive and respectful. Number 2, you need to be visible. This is non-negotiable. And I have had ladies in Elevate You who cringe at the word visibility. And I get it because I'm an introvert who does not like the spotlight. But I have learned ways to be visible that feel authentic to me. And we handle. Look at me. We talk about those things in Elevate You, how you can be visible while staying true and authentic to yourself. But you have to be visible. Decision makers need to know who you are, what you're capable of, and the value that you bring to the organization. Number 3, feedback. What our brain usually does is go into defensive mode, confirmation bias, saying the other person is wrong, the other person doesn't understand me, the other person has a wrong perception. Wrong perception. How can you determine for somebody else what is a right or wrong perception? Right? And so this is the beauty of feedback. That the sooner you look at feedback as data, instead of judgment or an attack on your character, the quicker you can grow, the quicker you can accelerate. Number 4, find and build your network of champions, being mentors, sponsors. I also always recommend to have like one bestie in the workplace. And I know this is not a popular opinion, because the workplace is not a family, you don't have besties. But when you're working 9 years in a company, like I have been working 9 years in a company, you have besties where you like it or not. But when I say besties, I want you to think about it in terms of accountability partners. For example, if you're trying to work on your public speaking skills, who can you find that can help you get there? Yeah, who can you find that can hold you accountable, that can give you the feedback, etc., etc. And number 5, we're not in an era of change. We are in a change of an era. And with that comes a different approach to how you learn and how you prepare yourself to stay relevant in the workplace of the future. So in the next episode, I will share about my own keynote and what my highlights were that I shared with the audience. But I did want to share the perspective of Ference, Daniela Cohen-Henriquez, and Stella van Rijn, because it gave such a rich angle and there were so many questions coming from the audience. And we had to cut the questions short because otherwise we would go over time. But there was so much interest and the need for a dialogue. I will be interviewing Ference, Daniela, and Stella in the future. So that's along the Feb-March timelines because we were tight with timelines this round. However, I did already want to share key insights because I think these are things that you can definitely take starting today, right? That you can start doing today. So think for yourself about how can you use your voice? How can you be more visible? Have you been listening to the feedback and proactively asking for the feedback on a scale of 1 to 10? What's the number you would give to your network of champions? And lastly, are you approaching your continuous learning to be ready for the workplace? I'll see you in the next episode. You have been listening to Unlocked Your Career by Design with Samantha Florence. If today's episode sparked something, here's your next step. Follow the show and leave a 5-star review. That's how we reach more ambitious women ready to break barriers. And if you know a colleague or friend who needs this, share it with them because lifting one woman lifts us all. Until next week, keep owning your spotlights.